We've got some Americanas turning up. That's right. Blade, a familiar face. PTA, who could that be? It's the one and only Magic. Let's see what they get up to as we hop into some I'm not even going to restart my game. Well, Magic is truly magical in this game. His villagers are so Chadley and hit the gym so often, they are built like boxers. That's right. We might be missing an ABP, but we've got a PTA to replace it because in the purple, we have got PTA playing as the Roost. This is Magic. I am Magic. Most of you will be familiar with him. It's hard not to forget him taking an absolute dump on Marine Lord. In fact, on lands, this guy has a 100% win rate against Marine Lord. Did you guys know that? Incredible stats. And on the other side, playing in the teal as the Abbasid, someone that people request and seeing some more Abbasid gameplay is going to be Blade 55555. If you're ever not sure how many fives it is, it's 5. Guy's been hard on the grind, man. A lot of people are curious when he's going to turn up. Like, he's got a lot of potential. He's definitely been committing day and night, sweat and toil. I think right now he's ranked 43rd in the world. If you haven't seen, he actually streams late at night. He streams in the American hours, as Americans usually do. Be sure to check him out. Seems like a really nice guy. PTA, at the time recording, is 43rd. And I think Magic has had a lot less time to commit on the rank side, I want to say. Or he's been doing it secretly on a different account. Because, well, funnily enough, to use the word account, he's an accountant. So he's got a real-life job. Oh, my God, there's more boxes. Why does this happen? Like, does anyone know if restarting the game would actually fix this? Because from what I've heard, restarting a game doesn't fix this. It's something to do with the replay file. Like, some games just load and this is an issue. Do we just keep looking at the Abbasid base anyway? People were curious what that's going to do. So, while we've got someone over here playing in Legoland as the Roost, the Abba opening is the one I'm more curious towards because the Abbasids are a lot more diverse right now, actually. I think the Trade Wing build is usually the go-to, but notice the Trade Wing is not going to appear here, and for good reason. This is probably the roughest spawn to try and do it on Dry Arabia. He literally has, right next to his base, got himself a trade post spawn. So more likely we are going to see Blade, if he A, wants to go cast Ace, go for the Culture Wing, or if he just wants to flesh out and play a little bit prolonged feudal with a better economy, he'll play into the Eco Wing. On the side, curious to see if actually in response, we are going to get a Kremlin play at Magic. I think the Kremlin is incredibly exploitable right now. Not as a defensive landmark, as we already highlighted. It's, funnily enough, it's an aggressive defensive landmark because of how much time you have with the militia to go harass people. We'll have to see. It's going to be the Eco Wing coming out. The reason you go Eco Wing here, by the way, is if you want to go multiple TCs. I do think, by the way, with the changes to fresh foodstuffs and the way that Fertile Crescent works, the optimal build is, for greed, going to be 3 TCs, not 4 for the Abbasids. I know some people like to meme around before still, but if you think about the cost reductions of villages being reduced from a 50% discount to a 35% discount, it's around the same like demand of food in your economy on 3 TCs that it used to be on 4. So that's kind of where Abbasids got nerfed a little bit, but they got shifted around another way. Something I really love about the 3 TC greed build for the Abbasids is with Fertile Crescent, it's not only cost-effective getting into the TCs and maintaining the push of villages at 32 food each, it also allows you to very comfortably transition into farms with a 25% discount per farm. Very important when you go for that type of play as well, because if you're going 3 or 4 TCs, it's very unlikely that you have map control. So you are more likely to have to go towards farms sooner rather than later. Well, apparently you guys like boxes, so you're going to love the scaffolding on these. There's going to be the Golden Gate, interestingly enough, coming out. So no Kremlin harassment. Kind of a missed opportunity here for Magic. If you go for the Kremlin play here, it's quite effective if you see your opponent wants to go Eco Wing like this. Logic is that they're going to be building additional TCs, and if they're building those TCs, those are raid opportunities. If you see them going for it and you commit militia in, even if you don't kill the villagers, just stopping them from finishing the building for an extra 20, 30 seconds is worth it. Instead, by going Golden Gate, you do have your own options to go towards like a TC boom, but because the changes to Town Center cost last year, you don't get that second Town Center quickly, freely. You'd have to go on the stone yourself to make up the difference. Might just be he wants to get a few extra knights, though. Well, villagers on the move. I love how hard it is to select villages like this. Hey, there we go. Feudal Age fixed it. I don't know how that works. I guess in Dark Age, they were given like loincloths, and we were just simply being Twitch censored because we didn't want to show PP on stream. But now, in the Feudal Age, we make our serfs wear dresses and tunics. Yeah? Yeah? And here we go. The exploitable new ball, guys. I mean, actually, Magic could just move away. There we go. So, they've made this really stupidly cheesy now, by the way. I'm actually so annoyed with the ball change. Magic, Magic, Magic. Don't lose the... Don't. But I'm actually seriously annoyed with the change to the ball. For those that are unaware, Pumbaa now just seeks vengeance to an unlimited degree of stupidity. Like, if you poked him and then ran into a blender, he would chase you in the blender to make sure you're dead. Hate that. Preferred it that it attacked the closest target. Not only was it fun for early skirmishes, because sometimes you can see people clutch up in a fight with the help of a boar, but also now, when you go to kill the boar, it's very easy to aggro the boar with a scout and then surround the boar with villagers and then move away with the scout. And what would the boar do in that situation? What would you do in that situation, folks? You would attack whatever you could, right? Not the boar. No. The boar, like a brain-dead horse charging into a spear wall, will just keep running on the spot and getting clubbed to death by all the villagers. It's so stupid. But what is smart is this play from Magic. A TC far away on the boar site secures him additional wood down the line. Gold, wood, 4. This is actually a pretty nice placement. Also in position to maybe play for relics a little bit later. And it's somewhat retracted away from where maybe Blade is going to look. As I say that, he's now wrapping around. But quite often, you won't check this out. In fact, this is kind of crafty from Matt. He might be going 3 TCs, but the way he's done this is really crafty. By going onto the stone now, the way he has, from Blade's perspective, he might feel that the TC isn't down yet. Because he just sees that 200 stone has been harvested. Now, he'll know there's a possibility his opponent could have easily traded for the additional stone. But because he's seeing him still on there, I think Blade is now going to hang around on this deer stack instead of hunting for the second TC. It's really actually super big brain. The timing as well was perfect for it. Like, if he hadn't had no one on the stone outcropping and a scout runs past, Blade's first thought is, where is the town center? But now, because he saw not all the stones being gathered, he's going to be a little bit more lax, shall we say, in his approach to checking. And it's going to be 30 TC, so wow. Magic. He's like, I didn't feel like playing a Bastard this game, but I'm going to play a Bastard this game. 3 TCs coming from the Bastard player in this situation. We'll get on his own deer. Interesting way for this to be played. And because he is on the board, and he could have easily played on the D, he could have had enough to get out to Castle Age. The one limitation I do see with this build for Magic is the way that he set up his base. He doesn't necessarily have great food long term. But this was more forced by Blade. Blade showing up with one horseman, I think, made Magic a bit paranoid about going out into that deer stack. Optimally, you would have wanted your third TC between the gold vein and the deer. In fact, you can see there's a perfect position there where you would have had 4 deers kissing the town center. Meanwhile, Ab going 5 TC. I mean, we're looking at 4 TC, right? There's no way he goes 5. I think 5 is too greedy here. If you go 5, the Magic goes Castle Age first. And then you lose mid-map because of Knights. In fact, if you go 5 TCs, Magic can also make a farm transition, which is the big issue I see for Magic right now, is he's going to run out of food first. Like, think about the berry patch logic here, think about the deer. Each time a TC's been dropped, Blade has secured additional food. But he's been securing more food than Magic. So Magic secured 2k food here. Meanwhile, the deer stack site secured 2,400 food. Meanwhile, these berry patches, although both of them secured a berry patch with an extra TC, the difference is that with the one Blade placed, he's also added an extra 100 food per berry patch. I don't know. I think he's going to have to come out sooner for pocket resources, or he's going to have to go farms faster. And keep in mind, if you do go farms faster, in this situation, it's actually more beneficial for the Abbasid player. Not only do they gather 50% faster, something that you can't get as the Roos, yes, you do get this 20% additional wood on drop-off, but Not as big as you think when you consider that an Abbasid player is getting a 25% discount on farm cost. So they're actually saving 19 wood. Like, mathematically, the Abbasids actually feel more comfortable in many ways now with farm transition compared to the Rus. Told me Ab 5 TC? What are you on about? It's 4 TC. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I'm not saying I'm a great mathematician, but you right there, sir, a mathematician. So 4 TC, 3 TC on the other side. Should be a much quicker castle stage timing, but instead, Magic's just going aggro. I mean, this 4th TC is really, really greedy from Blade. I actually think Blade needs to get a bigger army together. A few Camel Archers isn't going to cut it. Like, if Magic gets up to 20 Archers and keeps that rolling, Camel Archers just get sniped almost immediately when they arrive. Especially considering he's prepping the Blacksmiths, right? Yeah, he's already pumping the research into Steeled Arrow. Does he know where to go, though, is the real question. I mean, this is greedy, but it's also subtle the way that Blade has done this. You'd expect him to be on the Deer stack. Do you expect him to be on both? Have you got time to waste checking on that? Camel Archers are revealed. Oh, Blade, that's not the way to do that. Shift away. I mean, that Camel Archer is pretty much useless now. Unless you can linger on the backside as an aura. And remember, Camel Archers aren't cheap. 240 resources. Wait, did he just kill him? A little bit worrisome. Blade's also now shifted back. And a counter needed. Needed fast for Blade. Blade, who only has got 2 stables right now. On the other side, I mean, you're going to be playing up against quadruple archery range. Not to mention spears are coming, so Magic just ticking every box. But notice he's leaning hard into the archers. It's the best way to play the Rus with that extra 20% wood you get. I actually really like the fact that he didn't just go Castle Age here. I think this timing for the Rus has kind of been slept on a little bit. Like, we still see it a decent amount, but there are a lot of games where people could just play mass archers and just try and end the game, and instead they go Castle still. Which is weird, because to me, Rus don't have like this unique identity in Castle Age anymore. Ever since the Horse Archers got nerfed into the ground, kind of feels like you then want to lean into Imperial Age or play harder into Feudal. Glad to see that Magic's doing that, especially when you're given this much opportunity with so much greed out from the Abbasid player. Notice the greed coming out from Magic, though. He plays more side for ball. I'll keep his food going. Also now playing out the Deer stack, because remember what's just happened here. Blade is full defensive, so you can just play full pocket eco. Take note, folks. This is the way you should play Age of Empires. When you're given a map like this, take it with both hands and just do not let go. Woodline at least blocked out for the moment, but a shift to the west side. Blade now on his way up with the military wing. This is where Magic needs to decide. Am I catching up or am I killing? You can't half-ass it. You're either all in on one or all in on the other. Look at the numbers. It's quite clear what Magic wants to do. And those asking what the blocks are a mixture of scouts and spearmen. Apologies for that. There's nothing I can do. We're stuck with them for the time being. The weird part is that, if I'm not mistaken... Yeah, there's a knight in there, by the way. You just can't see him because the scout's box is so big. If Magic goes Castle Age and upgrades his spears, we will be saved, I think. In fact, we might be saved in a second. Every time the player techs up, there's a chance that the units get their boxes fixed because they're like a lot of them, their unit models get reset. Great in though. Nice little sniper. Blade a little bit slow to react here. A lot of villagers in the area as well. Love that. Magic just immediately moves away afterwards. Look at the difference maker that's made as well. Like Eco, they're neck and neck. Magic now taking the lead. Remember, folks, this is 3 TCs versus 4. The Abbasid player should be ahead. You're just going to stay in there now, right? Yep. Okay, great. And now, because Blade can't see here, this is the big brain strategy. If you know your opponent has green boxes, just drop them everywhere. It's sad because this can actually happen. I don't think there's any way to tell if they have green boxes unless they tell you. Which is why I would advise, if you're in a game with me, do not tell me you have green boxes on my X unit, because I will literally run into your base and... Actually, no, I'm not going to say that out loud. You could bait me and pretend that you have green boxes and I'd throw away like 20 spearmen. Okay, it's finally gone. My strategy is flawed. Webcam, just to confirm on that, it's possible that there were no boxes while playing. It's not guaranteed, though. In fact, on the last test server, I even have a 2v2 I played with Nilly, where I was playing the French, and my knights were all green boxes. I can tell you, as a player, it's incredibly infuriating, because as a player, you can't use the select box to select units that are green boxes. You have to individually click them. You can't even double-click them. Pretty annoying. So Magic has reached Castle Age. Has started to pick up the relics. Blade, desperate need to come out soon. Magic prepping an army of men-at-arms. Notice Blade, as the turtling player, will go for the crossbows. It's a logical matchup in this situation. The question is, what's next for Magic? I love that he's adding in crossbows, because I think if you just go naked men-at-arms, it's very kind of obvious, right? And the crossbow player will always have the advantage, because especially with the Abbasids, they thicken their base very quickly, right? Because they want to get all these buildings chained in for the Golden Age unlocks. And this thickening the base actually thins it for a battle. It creates these choke points where ranged units win. Yeah, you guys are right. Blade does have a lot of food. Funnily enough, not because of agriculture. He actually still doesn't have agriculture. Kind of weird that he hasn't gone for boot camp either. I'm a little bit surprised by this. It's a very cost-efficient tech once you have about 15 infantry units, and you can see he's past that threshold now. So would benefit a lot from that. Meantime, Knights are going to try to be a little bit of a nuisance on the flank here. Something they're able to do freely because Blade is playing quite a static comp. I know I'm saying that while he has 50% cav, but that's the other part of the composition that forces him to be slow. And yes, I agree. This bug is random. I don't know what triggers it. It is completely random. The Relic AoE engine having bugs? Silly people. It's not. It's meant to have bugs. It's like a zoo for bugs. I can't remember what you call that. Fashion center. Stone being gathered on flanks as well. So Magic. I think he's trying to position for Sacred Site victory. Trying to basically force his opponent to come play on his terms. I like this approach. He doesn't want to play this long term. Like, yes, Imperial Age, Rus have very strong units, but the economy of the Abbasids is going to get them sooner. It'll get them there a lot quicker than you. Mangonel being rushed up. If he's quick, he can try to intercept this. So far, Blade has been forfeiting a lot of ground to try and rush this one up. Archers will not be able to stop this. Mango's going to be in play. The big green boxes look unstoppable. So unstoppable that when they die, we still can't see what's happening. Counter Mango coming in. Magic looking to play the same game. Warrior Monk in the mix as well, healing up wherever it can. Heavy hit into the Archer line. More troops on the way. Spreading the line here. Mango not getting maximum value for Blade. Magic is winning in that regard. Front line looking all but gone. I actually think Blade just lost this fight. Needs to get the hell out of dodge. In fact, pack that Mango up and run. Great play there by Magic. He essentially pulled a few of the men-at-arms forward. I know it's a bit difficult to see in the mixer because all the green boxes, but he basically baited the Mango shots onto a few melee units. And now, with the remaining melee units, he gets max pain and revenge. Blade, with no front line to his name, has no choice but to run. Double Mango means he's now fully on the backside, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're close to a GG state. Blade is trying to get into Knights, but we saw the spears coming. There's counters, there's crossbows, there's Mangoes to prevent this clump in the choke points. And you know what I said about this kind of choke point focus being beneficial for the Abbasids due to mass ranged? Well, it's not beneficial when you're up against the counter to mass ranged. And I mentioned those spears more than common. I mean, Mango, spring on with the keep drop as well. Magic's just hopping, skipping, and jumping ahead. Blade, problematic now because he's not going to reach Imperial Age. Magic naturally is. Magic is pop capped. He's got what he needs. And it's going to be the high armory. So he could have went for a cheeky Sky Tower drop, but no need to cheese it. High armory is just the better choice here. It gives him a much higher ceiling in his game as well. All the buffs to it. Wouldn't be surprised if he just pumps the Rams now. Like, get 3 or 4 Rams together, get the light beam tech, get the What's it called? I always forget its name. Wandering Towns. And you'll be chugging your way through the buildings. Mega Shot's just trying to force them out. Siege still hasn't been built up. Some people saying they think Ab should win this. I don't think it's that cut and dry. It comes down to the way you play it. I think Magic had the right read. He got a lot more value out of the map. Blade, his own greed, caught him off in that regard. Now Magic, baiting in the spring ults for nothing. We had to trade out well here. Imperial Age has been reached, and that might just signal the end of the game. Maganel makes sure everything goes smash. Although the castle will not be complete, the price has been far too high for Blade. Now playing a whole age behind. An army that needs to be rebuilt. Be a bridge too far here. Magic will take the win. So let's just address what CK was saying. Like, Ab should win this. I don't see it. I really rarely see anything that cut and dry. I think the way that these two players opened up, Roos was in the driving seat for a lot of it. I think that clutch play to go onto the stone again after starting the second TC lulled Blade into a false sense of security, and he didn't scout quick enough for the secondary TC on the board. That set him up into this kind of awkward situation where he's already in for a penny, in for a pound on the greed with the TC boom. And then Magic actually optimizes his aggro to do enough damage and force enough pressure without sacrificing his scalability. Like, this isn't, oh, you know, Blade should have done like this better. I actually think this was more on the way that Magic played the game really well. Like, the clear thing to me is there was a few moments where, you know, you could say maybe he lost like a camel here or there early on that he shouldn't have. But I think Magic played the map well, and that's why he came out ahead. In theory, you can't outboom him. TC is cheaper, also the villagers. Yeah, but he's getting superior gathering rates on the board, which gets like buffed up by the bounty, so offsets the Golden Age buff a little bit. On top of that, he's actually pushing in archers and forcing a commitment to horsemen that you know aren't going to last long term in the comp for the Abbasids. So he's getting like a reasonable exchange there of a 1.5 compared to 1, right, in terms of where the food is going. Right? And instead of actually having to go for food himself, he's going into wood, which he gets an extra 20% of. So he actually pushes enough archers to essentially force this recalibration of the early comp from Blade. And I think that slows down his optimal timings later on. In conjunction, you have to remember he went 4 TCs. 4 TCs compared to 3 TCs is now more expensive than the old fresh foodstuffs build. 4 TCs used to be 100 food. Now 4 TCs will cost you, it will be 128 food every 20 seconds. So that strains you further. I think his food just gets stretched too thin. And although he gets extra in the berries, like a lot of his berries are a fourth of his base. He has to plant deer instead, which deer have a lower rate of gathering for Abbasids compared to berries. Like, all these small details add up. Magic, especially going for that second boar, ensured that he never had to go farms. Like, the only way that this starts to get shaky, and to kind of apply your logic on why the Abbas can usually be good, is in this matchup, a lot of the time, without considering map control, a Roos player should have to go farms before an Abbasid player. But when you consider their builds and what each of them were claiming, Magic is never going to have to go farms before the Abbasid player. That's why he looks so comfortable in this game. Because if they both have to go, like we mentioned, if you do the maths, although you get 20% more wood as the Abbasids, as the Roos, as the Abbasids, you get a 25% discount on all eco buildings that includes farms, and B, you get the Golden Age gathering rate of 15% that the Roos don't have. Right? So you see what I mean? If they both have to go farms at the same time, Abbasids are a lot more comfortable.